Natalie, welcome to Retro Podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, what is it that you do?
I am a photographer. I mainly work with musicians, so I tour a lot. And then when I'm not touring, I'm also shooting album covers and press shoots and have slowly been doing music videos as well.
Nice. And have you been touring with anyone lately?
Last year I toured with Innerwave and this band called Honey. And then this year I'm touring 7 months out of the year and I'm touring with this band called the Marias and Wallows.
Nice. And what was your biggest inspiration becoming a photographer?
Well, it honestly kind of just happened out of nowhere. Like never in a million years did I ever think I would be a photographer. Um, but yeah, I mean, it all just happened. I I shoot all film as well. Um, so it happened when I would always in high school just always have film cameras, like the disposable film cameras, and take stupid pictures of my friends. And then I just like loved the feeling of getting film developed weeks or months later and just remembering memories that were taken on the camera. And I always appreciated live music too. I would always try to find a band that was in town. Like I would go on a song that I would like and then go to that radio and just find new artists that were playing. And I would just go to shows by myself and bring a point and shoot camera and I would upload them to Instagram and bands just started reaching out and were like, these photos are cool. Can we use them? And I was just like, yeah, totally. Go ahead. Um, and one thing led to another, and I ended up touring with this German band that are my best friends to this day. And I remember they weren't paying me or any they weren't paying me or anything. I was just like, this is cool. Like I'm going backstage now and not having to pay for shows. And yeah, I remember coming home from that tour and I was like, if this is a job, I would love to do this. I mean, just traveling and taking photos of music, it's like my three favorite things. And now it's my full-time job.
Yes. And you're based in California, right?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles.
Nice. I've heard, so I've been interviewing a lot of people from Los Angeles lately, and I've heard that it's been freezing down there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like in a leather jacket and like with this inside my house right now. And I feel like people are always they're like, you don't know what cold is. You live in LA, but people that lived on the East Coast that live in LA are like, okay, this is pretty cold. I don't know. It's been getting to like the high 40s during the day sometimes. I think that's cold for me.
Nice. And if I'm allowed to ask, I've heard numerous stories about Los Angeles. So from your side of the story, what is Los Angeles like? Like, what's the crime rate like? What's the safety area like? I mean, what's Los Angeles in general in the real world?
Yeah. I mean, I live more on the east side, like I guess it would be closer to like Glendale and Pasadena area, which is I I feel safe where I live. I mean, I think you would if you're more towards like West Hollywood or downtown area, um, yeah, there's a lot more crime rates there. When you watch the news, I feel like that's where it is all blowing up and everything. I mean, I feel like every major city has that. But I'm personally not affected by it just because I have my little bubble that I don't really leave.
Understood.
Um, yeah, but I do feel safe in my east side little area and um yeah, I know I grew up in Orange County too, which is like an hour south of LA, which is very different than Los Angeles. It's only an hour away, but it's very um yeah, it's just a very suburban neighborhood. A lot of I feel like it's its own world, honestly. Like they just think that nothing else exists besides them. So I'm glad I got out of that. And I like how different Los Angeles is and how there's a lot of different people here. It's not just very one-sided. So yeah, that's I don't did that answer your question?
That was pretty good. Have you visited or walked or drive past the Chinese theater where they have the premieres and everything?
I have, yes, I have been. I remember going like a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure I've been recently too. It's that huge theater, right?
Yeah,
Where yeah. I saw a movie there. I forgot what movie it
really?
was. Yes, I
I
have
didn't know
been
you
there.
could do that.
It's not like I don't think it's like the actual theater itself, but they have movies. I don't know how it works actually, because I don't think it's like the actual, but it's like tied together, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's like a newer version of it, but on the outside it is the theater. I could be totally wrong though. I could just be making this up. But I have seen this Chinese theater, yes.
Yeah. I've seen the Disney version mainly because back in Disney World, the Hollywood Studios, when they used to have the Great Movie Ride, and this is the one in Florida, they used to have the
Hmm.
Great Movie Ride, and the architect on the outside was structured as the Chinese theater where they have the premieres and everything. But now it's a Mickey Mouse ride,
Oh, interesting.
which
I've
is
never
a
been to Universal in Orlando. I heard it's awesome though.
it is really cool, but that's not Universal. This is Disney World.
Oh, Disney, Disney,
Yeah,
Disney.
Disney's Hollywood Studios. Uh, Although I don't know if it's still called Hollywood Studios or they're changing it to something else because now Hollywood Studios is being known for Star Wars and Toy Story.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, the Great Movie Ride in the Chinese theater at Disney World was the Great Movie Ride, which is basically you're on a ride and you're going through like these scenes of different films, but it's all animatronics. But they play it like you're in the actual movie. So they had Raiders of the Lost Ark, they had Sigourney Weaver's Alien, they had the 1930s Public Enemy, uh, Wizard of Oz,
Cool.
Casablanca,
Yeah.
but now
Now it's Mickey Mouse.
it's a Mickey Mouse ride. It's not the same. I mean, the Mickey Mouse ride is fun, but the Great Movie Ride was always the best. They should have never taken it out. Although they did something similar with Star Wars though, so that
Mm.
counts.
Yeah, I know. They're always changing. Have you been to Disneyland in California?
I haven't been to the one in California, but it's on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I honestly haven't. I used to have a pass because it was very close to where I grew up. And it was only like it was so cheap. I think it was like 20 bucks a month. And so me and my friends would just go for a
Lucky.
ride or eat food, watch fireworks. Yeah. But I haven't been since the pandemic. But yeah, they have the whole Star Wars thing now, which looks pretty cool.
And the Marvel
Uh,
exhibit.
yeah. Yeah, in California Adventures, they've changed. They used to do the Hollywood Tower of Terror, and now it's like an Avengers thing. Which I'm not the biggest Marvel person. Like I've definitely have watched a lot of them and they're good, but I'm not like a diehard. Like
Yeah.
if a movie comes out, I have to go see the premiere.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel hasn't been the same since Endgame. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home was the best, and also WandaVision and Loki were the best. But like
Hmm.
every other movie that's come out after Endgame, I'm sorry to be a hater, but the
Yeah, they
they
kind of
just
all
haven't
just
been
fell
great.
together.
It's like,
Yeah.
where is this even going? And of course, they had something to go with the Kang story, which that was something to look forward to. But then the actor was fired, of course, due to some controversy that was going on about him. And now they're changing the whole story. Although the way how they're changing it, I mean, yeah, it seems it's gonna be cool, but I'm just glad they're not like screwing it up or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, one question about Disney and then something else. Now, the Avengers section and the um, Mickey's Toontown section, is that all in the California area or is that in a different area?
The Adventures is in California Adventure and Toontown is in Disneyland.
Okay, that's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are two things. haven't been to California yet, but it's on my list. But there are two things I really want to do at Disney, except sadly, it's probably just going to be the one. Uh,
I know, because you have to do the whole park hopper thing, and
yeah,
it's kind of hard to do both parks in one day, I feel
it
like.
is difficult, and there's two things. It would be go on the Roger Rabbit ride if that's still there, and also
Mhm.
meet a Marvel character, and that's Scarlet Witch. Even though it's a cast member dressed in a costume, I would still want to meet. I still want to meet Scarlet Witch, and
Yeah.
now it's difficult because when you say that both things are on two different sides, it's hard to choose which one is which.
Yeah, honestly, if I were to choose one, I would do Disneyland. I mean, it's just more, I don't know, I feel like there's like a lot of history there and there's a lot more to do there. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's you get it what you get to choose which one you want to
Yeah,
do.
that's gonna be difficult.
I mean, if you're there, you might as well just do both. Just save up.
Yeah. But I think my first one would be meet Scarlet Witch before anything else happens.
Okay, so
I'm
then
sorry.
it sounds like you're going to California Adventure then. But you won't even know if she'll be there.
Yeah, that's the difficult part. It's like how is she gonna be there or is she not gonna be there? That's the hard part.
Yeah, I don't you have to get the in and see what their schedule is like.
Yeah. For people that want to go into photography, what is the best advice you would pass
I mean, yeah, I feel like I do get this question asked all the time. And I just like for me, how it just happened so randomly. I mean, I think the biggest advice I could give is just to be, I don't know, just to be authentic and just someone that people like to be around. I mean, a lot of the bands that I work with are my best friends, and I feel like I'm able to capture a lot of candid moments that people don't have the privilege of capturing. Like, there's a lot of people who are hired to do just like random shoots, but they don't actually know the artist or whatever. They're like, oh, who's just like, here's another photographer, like taking a photo of me. But with me, people are really comfortable around me, so it doesn't really feel like I'm taking their photo, I guess I would say. So yeah, and I don't even have a website, which is kind of crazy. I mean, that's my New Year's resolution is to make a website.
Same here.
Yeah. But it's just word of mouth. Just I meet one person and then we have a really amazing shoot and then they refer me to whoever they know. So yeah, I think it's just being a very yeah, authentic, nice, cool person to be around and then everything kind of will just fall into place. Yeah, I always get like someone's asked me if I were to ever shoot a festival and I had the opportunity to like shoot Beyonce or something, they're like, "Oh, would you do it?" And I was like, honestly, not like if I take a picture of Beyonce and upload it, that's cool, but there's no like meaning behind it, if that makes sense. It's kind of just like, oh yeah, I have this photo of Beyonce, and there's so many photos of Beyonce in the world. So it's like it doesn't really mean anything to me unless there's like a real connection.
Fully understood. Yeah, I'm the same way with some of my illustrations. I mean, because the illustrations that I'm getting into is, of course, the illustrations that I do for every episode of Retro Podcast, and also children's book illustration and comic illustrations.
Yeah, I
So,
love your work, by the way. It's so awesome.
thank you very much. And my mother has a question. She wants to know what is your favorite board game?
Board game. Wait, who has a question?
My mother.
Oh, hi, mom. Um, I have you ever played?
She's not here at the
I
moment.
know,
That
yeah,
was the question
just
that
in
she
general.
that was the question she left me.
Catan. Have you ever played Catan?
You were not the first person to say Catan.
It is so much fun. We played on tour a lot too. It's a really good way to kill some time because they go pretty long. I've done like 2 hour games before. Um, but you've never played it.
No, I've never played it. I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
Yeah, it's a whole strategy game. And I get mean when I play that game too. I feel like I'm like a totally different person when I play that game. And yeah, it's really fun. I recommend it.
My favorite is Monopoly. Haven't played it in a while, but it's a fun one.
I haven't played that game in a long time, but I would always play as a kid. They had like the junior version or something. And that was always, I feel like if you like Monopoly, you would definitely like Catan because it's very much kind of the same. Like instead of houses and saving money or kind of like exchanging roads and building settlements, it's kind of the same because Monopoly goes forever too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I
Although
think you
probably
like
don't
it.
play it that often as it used to because and I won't get into politics because that's not retro podcast appropriate. But I feel like Monopoly is it's a very politically active game. So of course, like with all the politically active things, especially of how intense it's gotten over the years, I mean, yeah, it could be very politically active, which is probably why we don't play it very often as we used to.
Yeah, that would make sense for sure.
Yeah. And we are coming to an end of the interview, and so this is a retro show, and this is a retro question. What was your favorite product growing up?
Favorite retro product? Hmm. That's a good question. I'm trying to think. Um, like what do you think what even classifies as retro? Like would you
Uh,
know those or yeah, what would classify as retro?
I mean, just products in general. It could be, I mean, it's usually movies, games, video games, toys, um, something from like the 2000s or 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I definitely liked video games a lot. Um, oh, I remember, I don't know if this would be my favorite though. I have like two things that come to mind. You know that, what are those things where there's like two knobs and you can like draw things
Oh
on it?
yeah, an Etch a Sketch.
Yeah, is that retro?
Yeah, that counts as retro. I mean, Toy Story 1 is a would be
Oh
considered a
yeah,
retro film. I mean, not just a
true.
retro film, but like one of the first CG animated movies to come
Yeah,
out. Like, well,
yeah,
feature films to come
yeah,
out.
definitely. I loved that, and I also loved my PlayStation 1 too. If that's retro as
That's
well.
still retro. I
Yeah,
have a
I
PlayStation 2. Surprisingly, it still works. I don't really play video games that
wait,
often.
you have the PlayStation 2
I have the
or
PlayStation 2.
okay,
Yeah,
nice.
surprisingly, it still works.
Oh wow, that's cool.
The only difference is I don't play it anymore because video games are just not my thing. No offense, but also I don't have time for it either.
I
But
know, I know. Yeah, I grew up with two younger brothers and my dad that we'd always just play video games all the time. So growing up, that's just like how we bonded was I would play video games with my brothers. And then as I got during the pandemic, I got an Xbox and I started playing Xbox again and that was really fun, but that was only during the pandemic. And then when things started to pick up again, I haven't plugged it back in because I was like, if I plug that back in, I will not get any work done at all. So
yeah,
it's probably best that it just is collecting dust.
that
And
that's partly why I stay away from video games, mainly because like if you're spending too much time on it, it's like nothing important's gonna get done, which sucks. But although the last time I played PlayStation 2 was during the pandemic, and that was the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Not the sequels,
so fun.
but the
Yeah,
first one.
the first one, yeah.
I played it, but I did set a limit because I've played the game before. I never made it to the end, sadly, because usually where I end up every time is usually in the Shell City levels. But there was a certain level that I said that when it gets to that level, I'm done. I'm turn it off and walk away from it, which I did. But That was the last time I played PlayStation 2 was in 2021. So 2 years? No, 3 years. Oh my God,
I
3 years
know, I
already.
know. 2020 is 4 years ago, which is insane.
And that was when the COVID pandemic started. And then last year, the pandemic was officially over. And it's funny because I thought we were still in the pandemic. And then when I found out from my dad, he said that the pandemic's over. It's been over since June. I'm like, pandemic's over?
I know. I felt like yeah, it's so because I went on a tour to was that 2021 or I don't even know anymore. I think it was I just felt like it was just so long, but then some people were like, "Oh, it's still going." Some people were like, "It's not." I like it could still be going to this day. We don't even know.
Yeah.
Anymore.
I mean, the virus will still be around, yes, but
Yeah, I
it's
know.
like
I just
it's like every other virus. I mean, pandemics do end eventually. I think the reason why it took this long for this one to end particularly is because, well, like I said, I won't get in detail, but there were a lot of people that at first didn't think it was real. They like some thought it was a hoax, people thought
yeah.
it was a scam, and then of course when the medicine was released, you had people who didn't want to get the medicine, and
Hmm.
that was partly why it took such a long time for the pandemic to end, is because a lot of people weren't playing by the rules, which was very sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Um, Crazy times, honestly. So wild. I'm glad the worst is behind us,
Yes.
hopefully.
There'll always be pandemics. They just haven't come yet.
Yeah, that is true. That is very
And
true.
hopefully it doesn't hopefully the next one doesn't get too out of hand as the last one did.
I know, and people just follow the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Natalie, thank you again for taking your time on today's episode, and we'll see you soon.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice chatting with you.